Hello, everyone. Thank you for letting me spend some time with you as I get myself adjusted here. I certainly wasn't expecting to be talking about what I'm talking about today, but here we are, right? Before we dig into this, do the like, share, subscribe things, all those good things. Just make it easier for people to find us, just like you did. So, if you wouldn't mind, and feel free to leave comments. That's fine. I get a lot of private messages, probably because some of you don't want everybody to know you're watching or listening, right? But that's okay. I'll take those too. Over the weekend, the United States carried out a forcible arrest of the Venezuelan president, Maduro. He had been indicted in, I believe it was 2020, for drug trafficking, among other things. Now, whether you agree with the actions or not doesn't matter for the purpose of this discussion. It's already over. It's already happened. Whether you like it or not, sorry, or hooray, as the case may be. What I want to look at is really no different than a lot of the things that, I should say, that a lot of the events that we've been experiencing on the world stage, on the national stages. I want to look at some things, because when something like this happens, people get nervous, right? And the Bible repeats over 365 times, don't be afraid, fear not, something like that. But only about 15 times does it say not to worry, don't be anxious, something along those lines. But yet, a lot of us, when we see the events of something like Saturday, we worry, we get anxious, we get concerned, and for a lot of different reasons. Some people get, a little nervous because they have money invested in the stock markets and other places, and they say, "Well, how's this going to affect my finances? What's going to happen? What's going to happen?" To get an understanding of that, we need to look at the response of the different groups who are the most directly affected. For this particular event, the people in general in Venezuela are extremely happy, right? There's pictures and videos of these people celebrating in the street, right? People around the world who left Venezuela because they were persecuted, or they had the opportunity to leave voluntarily for various reasons, right? They're ecstatic. They are ecstatic. And I need to be careful how I say this. Why is it that we see the response from the people who were the most directly affected celebrating? Now, when I say most directly affected, okay, I'm not talking about fallout. I'm not talking about other things. The people who were most directly affected are celebrating. Proverbs 29:2 says, "When the righteous flourish, the people rejoice. But when the wicked rule, people groan." Now, after they're groaning, they're going to celebrate. The Maduro regime persecuted or killed a lot of people. He caused harm to many, many others. When evil falls, people rejoice, even though they may not realize the real reason they're celebrating, right? And as I look around and I read various news articles, it seems the only people who are not celebrating are some of the political leaders, mostly in the United States, believe it or not. And these people are the ones that think everything you have must either be given to you by man or by government, or you have acquired it by some nefarious reason. They think that because they themselves, that's how they got what they have, right? They think, oh, well, if I robbed and pillaged somebody else, you must have too. That must make us like cousins. something like that. They think you think like they do. But the reality is most people understand the things they have, they were given by our Creator, whether it's finances, family, wealth, property, rights, whatever it might be. So, while some of the markets are going to show some fluctuation, they're going to react to what happened. And that's certainly cause to watch them carefully. I'm not seeing a lot of need to panic, but I'm no financial advisor. Right? Talk to your financial people, see what they have to say. But the reality is, it's the people, right? The people drive the market. Now, some others might be concerned about how it's going to affect their employment. Well, unless you actually work for someone from Venezuela who is still Venezuelan national, and they're planning to return now that Murado's no longer there, your job is probably more than likely secure, right? Now, if you worked directly for the Murado regime in Venezuela, you're probably not listening to this anyway. Your job is probably not very secure, okay? Just saying. People are concerned. They want to know, is this going to affect the way that I travel, or is it going to affect the way I commute? Is the cost of your transportation going to go up? Maybe. I don't think it will be significant. If it does, mostly oil prices are coming down. Things are happening. I'm not seeing a lot of fluctuation there from what I'm reading in the news. And I read a lot of news every day. Some people might be concerned about the cost of their food. In the past several years, Venezuela has reduced their exports. I'm not seeing a lot of need to be concerned there. They control everything. The government controls everything there, at least for a little bit longer. So I'm not seeing a whole lot of fluctuation there. But again, I'm no worldwide expert. I just look at the news and I say the reaction to this isn't what some people were expecting. And now for the big one. People are concerned about retaliation from other nations, wars and rumors of war, right? Looking at the worldwide news, I'm not seeing anything. Now, I'm recording this on Sunday afternoon, so what happens overnight might change because this is going to be released on Monday. But I don't really expect it to. I think the world sees this as something that needed to happen. I think they see this as the people of Venezuela overall wanted this to happen, and it was expedited, legally expedited. So I don't see a whole lot of retaliation from other governments. We're reminded by Yeshua in Matthew 6:34. Don't worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow will worry about itself. Today has enough trouble of its own, right? In other words, what he's saying is, let's deal with what's in front of us right now. Something we can do about right now, but that doesn't mean that we don't consider the consequences of how we handle these things today. Right? Might change. What we do today will certainly change the outcome for tomorrow. But let's deal with what's in front of us. Let's deal with what we can deal with right now. Let's not worry too much about tomorrow. We can deal with that when it gets here. Again, Paul writes in Philippians 4:6, be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer, petition, and thanksgiving, present your requests to God. We should be in prayer. We should be in prayer for everyone involved. The people of Venezuela, the people around the world, people who had to leave Venezuela, nations as they consider, How's this going to affect this? How's that going to affect that? We need to be in prayer for the people whose jobs may or may not be affected. We need to be in prayer for certainly what happens. Is the Almighty going to say, I'm going to use this for a lesson for the world? It's possible. It's possible. And let's hope he does. David writes in Psalm 55:22, cast your burdens upon the Lord and he will sustain you. He will never let his righteous be shaken. If you are faithful, if you're doing the things you're doing, if you're living the way you're designed to live, you're going to be okay because you're going to see things differently. And here's where I get to put in my 2 cents worth. And remember, you get what you pay for, right? And this is free. Every time something happens on the world stage or on the national stage, whether it's peace or war, flood, famine, doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter what it is. The world will continue. And it will continue until the Creator decides otherwise. You're not going to change it. You can't end it any sooner than the Almighty has intended. There will be events, and they're going to affect some people more directly than others. Some people it will indirectly affect them. It doesn't mean that it has to be the same for everybody. People have to live together. They have to work together. They celebrate together. They mourn together. What happens on a national level, it might affect you. Handle what you can. Deal with what's in front of you. Tomorrow's going to have its own problems, right? And they might be the same. They might be different. We don't know. But deal with what's in front of you right now. If you spend more time worrying about next month, next week, next year, you're not living right now. And we have to live in the present because the world will keep going. Don't allow the way the news you hear or the way that it's reported to cause you anxiety. Instead, do something I learned a long, long time ago. Stop, think, get control. Get control of your actions. Get control of your emotions. Most importantly, get control of the words that you speak. Remember Proverbs 3:5. Trust in the Creator with all of your heart. Do not lean on your own understanding. And certainly do not lean on the understanding of someone else, unless it is the Almighty himself. Learn to live the way you're designed, and you're going to see the world much differently. Much, much differently. So to answer the question, what happens next? We respond. We respond. People respond. Just like in this event, the people are responding with celebration, except some politicians. Don't understand that, but okay. We respond with prayer. We respond with compassion. We respond with love. And we watch, we wait, and we see how the Creator is going to use this for his glory, because he certainly will. Now, if you need some help figuring out how to live the way you're designed to live, givegod90.com, right? That's there for your, and it's free. It's there for your, not entertainment, information. And of course, here comes the commercial. Author Jerry Mitchell is where the books are sold. You can peruse through them and find out how things fit together and why our traditions and why our doctrines differ from what the Bible tells us. Is it something to be concerned about? The events we just experienced, are they something to be concerned about? Maybe, maybe. But the reality is it's not going to directly lead to World War III. It's not going to directly cause, the end of the world, most certainly. It's simply another event in a long series of things that have to happen to bring to fruition the Almighty's plan. And it certainly will. It's going to be interesting, though, to see just how he allows this to be used for his glory, what he does with it. We can do a lot of things, but ultimately, he will win. And all the people who have ever done evil, all the people who are still doing evil, all the people who are, crying, oh, this is the end of the world as we know it. Well, you're going to see that one of these days, but not yet. Not yet. For the people who, and many of you know these kind of people, who do not believe that everything we have comes from the Almighty himself, pray for them. Feel sorry for them. Pity them. And then don't listen to them because they don't have all the information. Because believers know exactly what is going to happen and what's going to come. In the end, God wins. In the end, God wins. It's that simple. Something to think about until next time. And until then, many, many blessings, everyone.